Hello and warm regards from Next IAS team. Welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. Today we are going to discuss the following topics. The first topic is GI tags. The GI tag will be discussed in the context that Kerala's first tribal product has been given the GI tag. So we are going to discuss that. Second topic we are having is about NREGS, the Manrega scheme. Parliamentary board has given some recommendations regarding it. So we are going to discuss that. Third topic is about US reciprocal tariffs that have been introduced on India and all over the world. We are going to discuss that also. And then after in the prelim section, we are having the coastal shipping bill. We are going to discuss the main provisions of that. And lastly, in the main analysis, in the editorial analysis, we are going to cover the topic of satellite internet, in which the Starlink in collaboration with Airtel and Jio has introduced satellite internet in India. And we are going to see what will be the implications of that. So let's start with the first topic of the day, GI tags. It is in the backdrop that Kannadi Paya, a unique tribal handicraft from Kerala, has received the GI tag in April. That is yesterday. Now, something about this Kannadi Paya. Kannadi Paya, it is a bamboo mat, and the name, it means mirror mat. It has derived its name because it is having a reflective pattern. And the unique thing about it is that it is warm during the winters and has cooling effect during the summer. So it can be used in all weathers, whether in winter or whether in summer. And it is a tribal craft. And it is the first tribal handicraft of Kerala that has received the GI tag. Now this has been accorded to the Patti Varga Vivido Desh Sakarna Sangam Venmani and Vangshari Bamboo Craft and Van Vibhav Shekarna unit Uppukunnu, both are in Idukki district. So these two units have been accorded the GI tag status. And this status has been specifically accorded to five tribal communities. These are Orali, Muthuwa, Kadar, Manan and Malayan. Now, in 2024-2025, that is the period spanning from April 2024 to March 2025, there have been some products that have been given the GI tag and which becomes important from this year's prelims. So if we see, the first one is Japan. From Japan, Nikko Shu, that is Japanese shake has been given the GI tag. From UP itself, the following products have been given the GI tag. In the handicraft section, we have Banaras metal casting craft, then Bareilly cane and bamboo craft, then Bareilly Zari Zardozi, then Zaru embroidery of Uttar Pradesh. These have been given the GI tag. From the foodstuffs, Banaras Tirangi Barfi has been given GI tag. Then Pilkuwa hand block print has been given GI tag. These all products are from Uttar Pradesh that have been given GI tag in 2024-25. So these are important from the prelims point of view. Next is from Gujarat, we have the Kutch Ajrak that has been given the GI tag. It is a kind of handicraft. Then from the Assam, the following products have been given the GI tag like Bodo Arnoi, Bodo Nafam, Bodo Ondla. So these have been given the GI tags. You should be knowing about them. Lastly, from the Nicobar Island, Andaman and Nicobar Island, these products have been given GI tag. For example, Nicobari Canoe Hodi Craft, then Nicobari Mat, Chatrai or Hilori, then Andaman Karen Musli Rice have been given the GI tag. So these are the products that have been given GI tag from Nicobar Islands. Now something basic about the GI tags. What is the GI tag? GI tag or geographical indicator tag is a label that is put on the products that originate from a specific location, have special qualities, characteristics or reputation that inherently link it to that geographical origin. So geographical indicator tag is given on the basis of the particular location, that this particular product has arisen from that geographical location, so that the authenticity of that product can be maintained. Now, what is the legal framework for that? Under WTO, we are having one thing that is known as TRIPS, Trade Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Right. So, under this agreement, GI tag is one of the criteria that is mentioned there. And in India, to provide a legal framework for that, we have enacted the Geographical Indicators of Good Registration and Protection Act of 1999. So, this act provides a legal framework for providing GI tags. Under this act only, we are according GI tag status to various indigenous products of India. Now, basis on this discussion, please answer the question and post your answers in the comment box. The second topic we are having is about NREGS or National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Now this is relevant from GS paper to Governance and Social Justice. Also it can come under the Poverty and Unemployment section of GS paper 3 under Economics. The backdrop for this news is that Parliamentary panel has presented a report on NREGS and has given some recommendations. Those recommendations we are going to cover. Before moving ahead, let's see what is this NREGS. NREGS or National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, it was launched in 2005. It is the world's largest work guarantee program and it is having a legal backing. That means we have enacted an act and under that act we are implementing that scheme. It is under Ministry of Rural Development and its basic objective is to enhance the livelihood security of the rural households. It provides 100 days work wage employment to every rural household in every financial year to adult member volunteering to do unskilled manual work. So you should know the keywords here. One keyword is rural. So it is not applicable in urban areas. It is only applicable in rural areas. Then it is providing a work of 100 days. That is almost 3 months and 10 days. Thirdly, it is providing for unskilled manual work. So it is not requiring skilled work. It is for unskilled manual work and it is on voluntary basis. Anyone who wants to voluntarily do the unskilled work, he can actually enroll in this MNREGA scheme or NREGS scheme. Now, it will be applicable to every rural household. That you should be also knowing. Now, next is that what are the objectives of the scheme? The objective is simple: to provide livelihood security, to provide a stable income and resource for rural households. So, why do we need this scheme? The laborers or the workers who are not having land, they are not finding employment during the time when agriculture season is not there. So during agriculture season, they are having only seasonal employment. Now during those times when they are not having employment, to provide them a livelihood security, this act was brought so that they can be given a livelihood security. So it is providing 100 days of work in a year, or you can say 1/3 of the year. Now next thing is that it will help in reducing chronic poverty. So it is targeting the root cause of persistent poverty through works project. Third thing is that it is also strengthening decentralization. It is strengthening the process of decentralization by providing significant role to Panchayat Raj institutions in planning and implementation of the scheme. Now what are the provisions? First is the funding. Who is going to do the funding? The funding will be done by center as well as the state. And the funding will cover the wages, materials and administration. Next thing is that it is providing a statutory employment right. So it is providing a right to work, although it is not available under fundamental rights, but DPSP under Article 41 provides for that, provides provision for that. So this particular scheme and particular act is fulfilling our DPSP objective provided under Article 41. So you have to go and see what is Article 41. Now it is providing a time-bound guarantee and allowance also. If a person who is willing to work under NREGS is not able to find work within 15 days, then an unemployment allowance will be provided to that particular person. So it is ensuring a livelihood security to that person. Next thing, they have also ensured that there is transparency and accountability also. So there will be public disclosures and public audits. Along with that, it is favoring decentralized planning. So Gram Sabhas have been given a very important role in the execution as well as recommendation of the works that are going to be needed. So at least 50% of the work have to be executed by the Gram Sabhas, and it is going to play a very important role in recommending what works have to be done. And lastly, worksite facilities. Worksite facilities are going to include creches, drinking water and first aid. So worksite facilities have also been provided. The basic facilities have also been provided under the scheme. Now this panel has recommended some things to improve upon this scheme. First of all, it has said that please increase the wages under this scheme. So the wages should be increased to ₹400. Secondly, it has also recommended that the number of days guaranteed for employment should be increased from 100 to 150. So there should be at least 150 days of guaranteed days of employment by under this scheme, so that the livelihood security can be improved. Third thing, there should be a survey regarding ensuring that how much this scheme has been effective in its objective. So it is recommended for conducting a survey to know what have been the effectiveness of the scheme. Then we have efficiency measures. Under efficiency measures, the panel has recommended that the duplication and financial mismanagement, it should be avoided. To avoid that, ensure measures so that the efficiency can be improved. And lastly, we should be focusing upon sustainable infrastructure. Once the temporary work or kacha work has been done, then it should be converted into permanent structures. That it should be converted into pakka structures. So it means that, for example, a pond has been dug up and it is a kacha work. So after some time the pond is going to fill. So we should convert that kacha work or temporary work into permanent work by bricklaying and constructing a permanent pond there. So it is focusing upon sustainable infrastructure also. So first of all, it is trying to ensure that the wages should be increased, so the economic realities of the day, the inflation that we are having, it can be managed by the concerned person. Secondly, the time of having a livelihood security, it should be increased from 100 to 150 days. Nextly, conducting surveys regarding effectiveness of the scheme, and after that, efficiency measures regarding that how the scheme can be made efficient, and lastly, how the infrastructure that we have created can become sustainable for us. Now, based upon the discussion, attempt the MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. The next topic we are having is the Coastal Shipping Bill of 2024. It has been passed by the Lok Sabha and it is relevant from GS paper 3 under economy section, and subtopic is infrastructure. Now, something about this bill. This bill was introduced in Lok Sabha on December 2. And its basic objective is to regulate the vessels operating within Indian coastal waters, that is, territorial waters up to 12 nautical miles and adjoining maritime zone up to 200 nautical miles. This act is repealing the Part 14 of the Merchant Shipping Act of 1958. Now, you have to see that this whole act has not been repealed, only the particular section or Part 14 have been repealed by this act of the Maritime Shipping Act. Now, this is your maritime boundary, and this act is going to regulate whatever coastal activities are happening around the Indian boundary. So, that is the objective of this Coastal Shipping Act. This act actually will cater to India's vast coastline of 11,098 kilometers and the exclusive economic zone of 2.3 million square kilometers. Now, it will unlock the full potential of India's strategic coastline through a dedicated legal framework for coastal trade. It will align with the national logistic policy, aiming to provide a cost-effective, sustainable alternative to the freight movement. If we see under the India's coastline, we have three means from going A point to B point. The first means of transport is through the road transport, highways or expressways. Second means is through the railways we can go. And third, that alternative is being created is through the coastal shipping route. This coastal shipping route is going to be cost effective, as well as it is more suitable for bulk transport. As I hope you know that shipping is the means by which we are having the maximum trade with the global world. So globally, if we are trading globally, 75% of the trade is through the ocean, water or through the sea routes only. So why that is possible? Because it provides for the bulk transport. So this shipping route is going to provide us with the bulk transport facility. And this act is going to respond to the 119% surge in the coastal cargo traffic since 2014. And we are targeting a total amount of 230 million tons by 2030. This act or Coastal Shipping Act will provide a legal foundation for integrating the national coastal and inland shipping strategic plan, which will support a balanced regional development of the coastal as well as ravine areas. So it means that we are having on one hand the coastal shipping route. Secondly, we are also developing national waterways. So this coastal shipping route is going to provide integration with the national waterways of country. So it will provide a continuity between the two. Next is what are the objectives here? The basic objective is it will encourage the coastal shipping as a cost-effective, low emission and alternate to the road and rail transport. If we see the road transport, what is the problem with the road transport? It is more polluting and it is costly also. By means of this coastal shipping route, we are going to tackle to that problem. So it will be providing less emissions and a cost-effective solution for transportation. Secondly, it will help in decongestion of our national transport networks and will boost the maritime trade as well. And the objective or aim of this National Shipping Act is to reduce the logistic cost and promote sustainable transport in our country. Now, what are going to be the various provisions here? First of all, the scope. It will cover all types of vessels, whether ships, boats, sailing vessels or mobile offshore drilling units, whether self-propelled or not. Secondly, it has also expanded the scope of the definition of the coastal trade. Under the coastal trade, now the services will also be included. These services include exploration, research or any kind of commercial activity. However, fishing has been excluded from the coastal trade definition. Next thing, what vessels will be coming under its ambit? First of all, the Indian owned vessels will not require any kind of license. But the vessels which are not wholly owned by the Indians or which are hired by the Indian citizens, NRIs or overseas citizens of India for operations between India and India or international ports, and overseas citizens or citizens of India operating vessels outside India, they will require licenses under this act. Next thing is that license will be issued by the Director General of the Shipping, and vessels under the Indian Vessels Act of 2021 will be permitted for coastal trade. Next, license will be suspended or revoked if there is any violation of the license terms or laws or non-compliance with the directions given from the DG of the shipping. The penalties have also been revised. They have been made more realistic and trade friendly. For example, realistic if we talk about, now the fine has been increased from 1000 rupees to 15 lakhs for any unlicensed operation. So the penalty have now been revised. This 15 lakh can be there, or if it can be 4 into the voyage gains, whatever gains the profits that it has made. So it has been made more realistic. Secondly, if they are not able to provide information, then the fine has been increased from 500 to 50,000 rupees. So the fine has been increased. Third, how it has been made more trade friendly. Earlier there was a jail terms if any violation of directions was there. Now this jail term has been removed and a penalty of 5 lakh rupees or 2 times the profit have been imposed. So now the penalty have been made civil. Earlier it was criminal penalty. Next, detention of vessels. It will allow for the offences like unlicensed operations or providing false data. So any false data or unlicensed operation, then there can be detention of the vessels also. Next is, what are the other provisions? It will be, the revised penalties are limited to the first time offences. For example, operating without or with expired licenses, unauthorized sea voyages, withholding or delaying required information, or breaching detention orders. Next, National Coastal and Inland Shipping Strategic Plan. It will be revised every 2 years. So the central government will present a National Coastal and Inland Shipping Strategic Plan, and it has to be revised every 2 years. It will be for better route planning, traffic forecasting and integration with the inland waterways. Second thing, there will be a database, a national database for coastal shipping, which will provide for transparency and data-driven governance. Now, along with that, the economic impact will be like that. Coastal traffic has already risen 119 times from 2014. So within 10 years, it has actually more than doubled. And it is aimed to reach to 230 million tons by 2030. This act will provide a legal clarity, regulatory stability, and will encourage private investment in the sector. It will also reinforce our vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat and national maritime security. Now, for the state participation, it will ensure activities involving states and UTs in planning and regulation. It has been specifically provided under Clause 8.3. Then, the committee will include representatives from state maritime boards, major ports, and sector experts will also be there. It will promote inclusive regional development, especially in states like Odisha, Karnataka, and Goa. You can now attempt the MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. Next topic is US reciprocal tariffs. US has announced reciprocal tariffs all over the world, and India has also been affected by this. So this is the backdrop for this news, and it is relevant from GS paper 3 economy section point of view, that is international trade. Now let's see. If we see India and US, what have been a tariff history. So the tariffs imposed by USA and India are as follows. On passenger vehicles, the US is imposing a 2.5% tariff, while India, while importing vehicles from USA, it is imposing a tariff of 70%. So there is a high tariff by India. Secondly, on rice, food items, for example rice, India is imposing a tariff of 80%, and US on the other hand is imposing a tariff of only 2.7%. Next, gems and jewelries, US is imposing a very minimal tariff of 2.12%. Then for chemicals and pharmaceuticals, again the tariff is very minimal, 1.06%. On electronic products also, the tariff is very minimal, that is 0.41%. Now on networking switches and routers, India is imposing a tariff between 10 to 20%, while the US is imposing a tariff of only 0%. So if we see from the US perspective, the tariff on Indian exports is very less, and India is putting a very high tariff on the products being imported from USA. Now in this regard, the US has imposed tariffs on India. Now it can be divided into three sections. The first section is there are some existing tariffs, the tariffs that were imposed earlier by the Trump administration. For example, sectors like steel, aluminium, auto parts, they are having a tariff of 25%. So on these sectors, the tariff have been kept at constant of 25% only. They have not been touched. Now on the other sectors, a flat tariff of 26% have been imposed. These sectors, the tariff will be applicable from April 9. Now there are certain sections which have still been exempted from the tariffs. These involves pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, energy products like oil, gas, coal, energy, and copper. So on these sectors, the tariff are still exempted. No tariff increase have been there. And if we see, India is having the minimum tariff in the Southeast Asia region, and other countries are having a more tariff imposition by USA. So in that manner, India is somewhat on a better side. Not on the best side, but somewhat on a better side, because India is having less tariff. For example, Vietnam, it is having a very high tariff with respect to garment exports that it is doing with the US. India is having a less tariff imposition. So it can have a positive implication for India as well, that from Vietnam, the companies can shift to India for its exports. Now, let's see what have been the impact of this tariff. First and foremost, the impact is seen in the stock market. The stock market has crashed. BSE Sensex dropped by 509 points and Nifty had slipped by 146 points. And today also we are seeing the same pattern. Then there have been some tariff reduction proposals by India also, so that the US actually contains its tariff imposition. India is considering slashing tariffs of 23 billion worth of US imports, which includes items in gems and jewelry, pharmaceuticals, auto parts. So India is considering to reduce the tariffs on US exports, so that US does not respond in imposing more tariffs on India. Then what have been the sectors affected? The first and foremost is the electronic sectors that have been affected, because from 0.41% now the tariff will be 26%, and Indian exports to US in this regard is $14 billion. Then gems and jewelries, it was also having a very minimal tariff. Now the tariff has increased to 26%. 9 billion worth of export will be affected by this. Auto parts and aluminium, they will not be affected. As usual, the 25% tariff has been maintained as it is. So it will not be affected by it. Lastly, pharmaceuticals and energy sector will not be affected. Why? Because they have been still kept under the exempted category. So the $9 billion of pharmaceuticals will not be affected by it, and the energy products will also be exempted from the new tariff policy. So based upon this, you can attempt the MCQ that is present on the screen, and you can answer in the comment box. Now is the last topic of the day, that is the editorial analysis. The topic we are having today is the satellite internet. It is in the backdrop that SpaceX has recently partnered with Airtel and Jio to expand the Starlink satellite internet services across the India. Now it is relevant from the prelims perspective in the general science topic, and from mains perspective under GS3, awareness in the field of space as well as advancement in the science and technology. This is the previous year question. You can attempt the question and you can post your answers in the comment box. Now coming to the news. Starlink is the SpaceX satellite internet service operating in the low Earth orbit. Airtel and Jio have partnered with the SpaceX Starlink to expand the satellite internet services in India. There are around 7,000 satellites in the low Earth orbit under this Starlink. Now the close competitors are, first one is from China, that is Guowang satellite constellation. Second one is OneWeb, it is having 650 satellites, and Amazon has also come under the ambit with its Kuiper project, but it is in early stages. So these are the 4 competitors in the satellite internet service connectivity. So we can actually remove Amazon. Secondly, if we compare OneWeb and Starlink, so Starlink is a better competitor, which is having a more number of satellites. So it is more competent. And Chinese, we can actually avoid it because of the security concerns. Now, what is satellite internet? Satellite internet is a form of high-speed internet connectivity that is delivered via the satellites orbiting around the Earth. So we do not need the terrestrial infrastructure like fiber optics or cellular towers to provide the satellite connectivity. It is especially useful in the remote and rural areas, for example, mountainous region, where installing the terrestrial internet service internet infrastructure becomes very difficult, and it is also prone to be malfunction due to disasters that are happening in that region. In those areas, the satellite internet connectivity becomes very, very important, and it can play a very crucial role also. If we see the importance of satellite connectivity, internet connectivity for India, it has multifold. First and foremost is the wider coverage that it is having. It will be able to cover the remote, rural and inaccessible areas where installing fiber or cable connectivity is not very much feasible. Second thing, it can enable the digital inclusion in those areas. It can help us in reducing the digital divide of the areas by enabling internet and by enabling services like e-governance, telemedicine or e-education. So it can help in reducing the digital divide that is happening in the country due to lack of internet connectivity in inaccessible areas, rural areas or remote areas. Next is, it is having a good feature of quick deployment. For example, during disasters, when installing the traditional terrestrial infrastructure becomes very difficult. In those cases, the satellite internet connectivity can ensure a better communication installation in those disaster prone areas. So it is very much, it is having a very, very good application in the areas which are disaster prone. Next is scalability. It can be easily scaled. Why? Because there is minimal requirement of terrestrial infrastructure deployment. So first of all, it is very quick to be deployed. Secondly, it can be scaled also. So the rising demand for the internet connectivity it can cater to that also without having an additional cost for the terrestrial infrastructure. Next is it also provides a reliable backup connectivity. It acts as a backup for terrestrial network failures during natural disaster, infrastructure damages, etc. Next, it will also support mobility. For example, it can provide internet access to ships, aircrafts, and moving vehicles. Lastly, it is also important for security and redundancy. Low Earth satellite networks offer secure and low latency connections and better redundancy during as they are having multiple satellites in the orbit. So these are the benefits of the satellite internet. Now, when Indian companies Airtel and Jio have partnered with Starlink, what are the benefits that we are having? First and foremost benefit for the Airtel or our domestic companies is that they are now taking a technology leap. Now they are moving from the traditional terrestrial infrastructure to the satellite connectivity. Secondly, it will help in a faster rural penetration by these companies. Thirdly, it will create new revenue avenues for them. Then it will also enable strategic partnership with them. Secondly, for India, it will help in digital inclusion. It will boost the government schemes, and it will also provide us with the disaster resilience. For Starlink, first of all, it will be having a first mover advantage. Then it will help in its market expansion, and it will help in revenue growth also. So it is a win-win situation for all the three stakeholders, for the domestic companies, for the country or the public, and also for the Starlink. But there are still challenges with respect to this Starlink and Airtel Jio partnership. The first and foremost is the geopolitical concerns. Partnering with the US-based network like Starlink raises concerns about national sovereignty and potential US influence over India's digital infrastructure. Communication has always been a very important strategic sector, and India has always tried to maintain control over the communication. Now, having a system which is not having which is not under our geographical boundaries, because the satellites are in the space, so we are not having control over that. So from the communication, we will be losing our control. Secondly, we have seen recently in Ukraine, Starlink has discontinued the internet services. So in times of extremities, for example, during times of war, it provides US with a strategic advantage to enable its agenda. For example, during India and Pakistan war, US can compel India to get soft or to adhere to the conditions which it is imposing by stopping the internet connectivity in the country. So we do not have to be fully reliable on the Starlink satellite connectivity. Secondly, it will also impose the monopolistic market structure, because there is limited competition only from OneWeb, Amazon, Courier, China. Obviously, we cannot go with the China part. So it raises concerns over pricing, dependency, and control. Thirdly, the indigenous limited capabilities will not be enhanced much because it is all about satellites. So India's current satellite capabilities are also strategically important, but economically suboptimal. So it is offering a very limited leverage. Next is exclusion of the state-owned players. For example, BSNL. BSNL has been excluded from the partnership part. BSNL, if it would have been a partner, first of all, it would provide a strategic oversight. Secondly, it is having a very good rural connectivity. So it would have been provided better rural connectivity for the country also. Next is affordability and accessibility. The satellite internet could remain too expensive for the rural population. So it can actually potentially increase the digital divide instead of bridging it. And it may need heavy government subsidies if we want to provide the connectivity in the rural areas. So it can actually put additional financial burden on the government also. Now, without inclusive pricing model, it might create existing digital inequalities in a new orbital form. Next is governance and regulation challenges. Issues like orbital debris, space traffic control, and international cooperation lack clear governance framework. That is another challenge that we are having. Then, lack of global governance framework is there. Without coordinated policies, international cooperation may falter, risking orbital overcrowding and competition. And lastly, sustainability concerns in the orbit also. Unregulated satellite proliferation could lead to tragedy of the orbital commons, where space becomes cluttered and unsafe. Now, based upon the discussion, you can attempt the maze answer and you can post that in the comment box. So with this, we conclude the discussion for today. Thank you very much.